Welcome, Traveler, to your perfect start into the last of the Druids. I leveled up over 30 builds in the past leagues, and this video will cover everything from XP penalty, how to get the most damage, smooth progress through the acts, when to ascend, which order to do the Interlude Acts in, so you get a smooth campaign experience. Now let's get the most important thing out of the way first, and that's your level and XP penalty. Because if you're with level 2 in a level 7 zone, you would get 44.68% less experience. That's a level difference of 5. If you play very efficient, you will easily end up with level 10 in a level 15 zone and get massively less XP. This penalty threshold changes every 16 levels, which means at level 16, I could be in a level 20 zone and everything is fine. However, if it's 21 or 22, then again, 44%. And with level 32, I can actually be in a 37 zone. I think you understood how it works. If you end up being underleveled for the content you're doing currently, don't hesitate jumping back into a previous zone to scoop up 1 or 2 levels super quick and then continue. Otherwise, you're just falling behind further and further. Off to the second most important part, maximum clearing speed during the campaign. The first example here is me versus Beira with the normal weapon that you start with and nothing else. Then look at the second example. That is me with a slightly magical crossbow and already 2 iron rings. And you notice the clear speed is almost triple, quadruple as fast. And that's simply because your weapon is everything during the campaign. I know it might sound trivial to some, but your weapon is what you want to invest the most into as you're playing through the campaign. You get your first Orbs of Augmentation, surely don't use it for your helmet. No, try to get another damaging stat on your weapon. You might pull a lucky Regal Orb. I'm not going to make this a rare item. No, I'm going to upgrade my weapon. I mean, this would already be absolutely insane what I just pulled here out of my head. The second most important item to use upgrades on are probably your rings, as you can easily get some of these flat damaging stats on top. Or not, but it would be another 3 to 4 damage, 1 to 4 damage, straight up doubling the damage of that iron ring. And let's not forget that every level up, your shop will refresh, offering you new choices, new weapons. In the beginning, you won't have a lot of gold. Your gold should be spent on new weapons, and your gold should certainly not be spent on an armor piece, apart from boots with movement speed, because that simply makes you zoom faster through the campaign. Another thing to look out for in the shop is quality. If you have the money to spare, buy yourself weapons with quality. Don't buy yourself these gloves with quality. You don't need the armor or scrap right now. However, if you could find a weapon here early that has quality, you want to use your Blacksmith Whetstones on your weapon because it upgrades by 5% early on. Gets less over time. However, in the beginning, it's a lot. And if I then salvage my item, boom, I get those 2 back. So I pretty much zero-sum upgraded this because I get the same amount back that I just invested. Don't hesitate using them to squeeze out even more damage. What about your Artificers Orbs? If you pick some of them up, you do actually get more of them during the campaign than ever before. However, I usually keep those socket items for outstanding weapons that I know will last until the next act, and not something that's going to get replaced relatively fast. And if you didn't pick up a single rune yet, then socketing anyways doesn't make sense. Keep in mind here that socketing an item doesn't give you a full Artificer's Orb back. It gives you 1 shard, and you need 10 shards for an orb. It's not the same as using your quality upgrades on your weapons. That's a bit more efficient. After clearing out the Red Veil and going past the cemeteries, Asinia and her consort, in the hunting grounds, the first thing you do is take out the Crowbell for those 2 skill points. And then I actually like to run into the Ogham farmlands to get the Loud from Una's hut. I think it's pronounced the Loud. So I already have 4 skill points more. This allows me to clear out the Freythorn very easy. Don't forget, if you already go into Ogham's farmland, make your way all the way through to the teleporter in the Ogham village. Teleport back to the hunting grounds, kill the Freythorn, get your first spirit skill, and then you're good to just blast through and finish the act. In Act 2, after you've beaten the Modern Mine, and made your way through the Trader's Passage and Halani Gates, don't forget the token from Balbala. The first thing I like to do is I had to Keth to grab myself the +2 skill points from the Constrictor Queen, and then boom, we're jumping over to the Trials of Sekimus at level 22. In this act, don't forget to farm in the Mastodon Badlands until you get the first statue, and also in the Kaz area for the second statue. Since they changed the reward in the Valley of Titans to now give you +1 charm slot and increased charms gained permanently. That's too good to ignore. It was introduced in 03, still there in 04. You want that boost. Good, you're ascended and ready for Act 3. Here already in the very first region, the Sandswept March. Before you make your way into the Ziggurat encampment, you're going to search for the two elites that are close by hugging the wall to the left or to the right, depending on what your mutation of the area is. Those elites at the Auric Campfire will guarantee you a Jeweler's Orb, which can boost your main skill. Don't forget to double check your level for the XP penalty, because I end up being level 27, 28 in this area, and the area level is 32, which would be a 4 level difference and fine. The first thing you hit is going to be the Jungle Ruins and clear out the Mighty Silverfist for the 2 skill points, and then descend into the Venom Crypts to get yourself the vials that you had into Survey. By the way, don't we all hate the Venom Crypts? That area is shitty designed. Generally, I recommend taking the mana regeneration from her. Helps most builds. However, I've had a lot of builds as of late that wanted to have the stun threshold instead. After you cleared the Jungle Ruins and went over to the Infested Barrens, your first stop will always be the Azak Bog, so you can pick up that bonus spirit from the Bog Witch and get your next spirit skill. This then leads you to the Chimeral Wetlands, hit the Chimera down, get the waypoint in the Machinarium, but make sure that you actually hit the Temple of Chaos right away afterwards. Now, this depends heavily on your build. You technically do not have to ascend with level 38. You could finish the Machinarium first, you could go to the Sanctum, and then also finish the Apex of Filth if you feel like. However, I tend to want to ascend with level 38. Smarter is probably finishing at least the Apex of Filth, because you're going to be level 40, maybe even 41 at that point. The final thing you're not allowed to forget before Doriani is to get yourself the gigantic heart from the big dudes that are running around here. So none of these small guys actually matters, right? It's all about killing those big guys and then getting their sacrificial heart for those 2 bonus skill points. That heart you can get in the Agharid region and also in Uzul. If you didn't get it in the first one, don't stress yourself. Agharid gives great XP as well if you then have the proper level. Generally speaking, if you're rushing through areas, you're allowed to ignore elites, but what you're not allowed to ignore is magic monsters, the blue ones, because the blue ones give tons of experience and are absolutely worth it to do. Obviously, whatever white mobs you kill as you're just zooming, right, they are just collateral damage. If you've seen a elite, might want to run past if it takes too long to actually kill him. However, a magic mob needs to be killed. The XP to kill time ratio is just too good. Now we made it all the way to Act 4. Is there a specific order I like to do the islands in? Usually I do look at what level the islands are and then just do them from the lowest to the highest, because you don't want to start with an island you're not level appropriate for. However, after clearing Captain Hardlin, which is your first stop, you're being asked to go there, I like to head over to the Isle of Kin and take out the Blind Beast for those 2 bonus skill points. Rest of the act, enjoy your blasting through and make sure to always get your upgraded weapons. And obviously don't forget to buy those quality items. At this point, you should also have enough money to actually also buy some armors and even some socketed items to then break them down at the salvage bench to just fuel your inventory and have more and never struggle on any potential upgrade. In the Interlude Acts, it becomes a little bit more interesting. You could do 1, 2, and then 3. However, you want to start at the Glade and kill Lithara the Wayward Spear. She's the first boss, because that lady gives you plus 40 spirits. Afterwards, I would then return to Interlude Act 1, completely cleared, Interlude Act 2, and then finish out 3 in a big bang. If you're extremely comfortable with your build, with your damage output and survival, you could also, after getting that 40 spirit, head over to the second act and then make your way to Quima. And here, grab yourself the 5% experience gain, and keep that at least for the rest of the Interlude Acts. If you're not comfortable with all the negatives, you might as well just put up the 3% bonus movement speed, because you're simply faster through everything. And no worries, at any given time you can swap these around, so it's not like you're stuck to your choice. As you're then done with your campaign and hidden mapping, I highly recommend, with your Atlas skill points, to first head upwards to the increased chance to drop inscribed ultimatums and Jinbarias. Otherwise, I always struggle to get my 3rd and 4th ascension. Afterwards, I love to go into the direction of any essence related node. Your maps have an increased chance to contain essence. Maps have an increased chance to contain essence. Essence found your maps have a chance to be perfect essences, and like even more, right? All this essence related stuff is actually huge. Why essences? Because with a greater essence of abrasion that gives you 35 to 59 physical damage, and a bow that starts with bonus percentage to physical damage in magic, you instantly have an absolute monstrous crossbow out of nowhere, or a spear, or a hammer, whatever. And the same goes for pulling a perfect essence of battle, which gives you 200 melee weapon or crossbow, 6 levels to all attack skills. Boom. Now what about gambling during the campaign? Would you ever throw your money away for this? Yes and no. If you have absolutely no chance to get the crossbow you're looking for. I, for example, want a siege crossbow, a bombardment crossbow, right? With level 32 in Act 3. If I'm not getting that, it's going to suck. If you're standing in front of Jamanra and you're still running your level 16 weapon and the store did really not offer anything, then it might be time to at least gamble a little bit, to click the button a few times and hope you're getting something that even remotely could replace what you're having. Sure, you could get completely cooked, but hey, look at this. That would be insane for that level 38, right? This crossbow here too would be relatively good upgrade to whatever I had at this point. This one kind of funny, but obviously we would rather have the bonus projectile. When it comes down to your passive tree, and I know it's going to get reworked and we're not all playing the same stuff. However, let's start on the Druid side of things. I like to take the flat damage nodes in the beginning. For example, here our bonus melee attack speed and then our melee damage. Just get that up. Travel all the way. Attack damage, attack damage, attack damage, attack damage, attack damage. Could even go to the left to the warrior side for even more attack damage. Anything that just flat makes you stronger without any weird conditional stuff attached to it. And sure, attack speed is nice to get early. However, flat damage is usually king in the beginning. After I hit level 65, I like to then rework things and either focus more on the critical strike or include more of the defensive nodes, as I don't really go for much defense during the campaign. That's just a maximum damage thingy. This was a quick and dirty overview. Any questions left, ask them in the description below. And if you would like to see this one Exalted game-breaking playthrough, I linked that here for you to enjoy. See you in The Last of the Druids, where we live stream everything and play through all the builds. Take care.